Hello everyone, how's it going? Today I would like to talk about what are the best units that you can pull in this summon meta, remembrance meta, and also some units that could potentially withstand the age of time. There has been, if you don't know, quite an uproar in Honkai Star Rail about power creep. So back in at the end of the 2.0 version, so we're talking a couple months ago, we saw how increasingly difficult it was. If you don't know, there are basically three endgame contents. The first one is Memory of Chaos, the ones that was released first. Then we got Pure Fiction and Apocalyptic Shadow. So just basically, if you don't know what this is, Memory of Chaos is, if you're familiar with Genshin, it's just that. Basically, there are now 12 floors. There used to be 10. So you try to clear it as fast as you can. Basically, it takes up cycles. So if you reach and you clear the last floor with at least 20 cycles, you get the full star clears, which is what I guess everybody wants. Not only for the rewards, I mean for personal accomplishment. Then Pure Fiction was more tailored towards AoE attacks. The enemies keep on coming, you stack on points, you have to reach a total maximum of 80,000 points, 40,000 points in the first wave, in the first round, 40,000 in the second round, and it works the same. There are less stages, there are 4 stages, and you try to get as much point as you can. So then Apocalyptic Shadow is the latest one, and which favors characters that manage to break the boss. It's a single target scenario, more of so characters that can break the enemy works better because you get a massive buff when you break the boss, and you try to clear it as fast as possible, because also you have a total number of points, and each turn that you take lessen those points, so you have to clear it as fast as possible and maintain a high level. Okay, so this is a game that has been, we got 3 years basically of Honkai Star Rail, and many things have changed, but mainly what got this uproar and this fear of missing out, trying to get all a cohesive team. I think that the sentiment has changed kind of, I wouldn't say radically, but it had changed a lot faster recently because of this HP inflation. We are talking about this HP inflation that the enemies got. So many units, many beloved units that people worked so hard to get, they fell a bit short. So mostly what is going on right now is that the newest character, they really do have a considerable edge over some character that was released not even that long ago. So hopefully, everybody can be happy, everybody can be, satisfied regardless of what's going on. But undeniably, I think that was the case. They stepped a little bit too hard on the accelerator, I think. But I, in my opinion, always managed to stay on top with especially good choices. I think I made good choices, and I always managed to get, this year at least, I was always being able to get 3 stars every single time in every single content. Anyway, we're not talking. Well, we are going to talk a little bit about the characters that I have, but mainly these are my thoughts on who is universally good and can potentially be better in the future, or stay a little bit, above the water just for a little bit of time, and looking at the bottom of the barrel, see who managed to, kind of stay on top. First of all, what I believe, and you may not subscribe to this theory, how to build a meta team. So first of all, who do you need for the meta team? You need the DPS. Okay, everybody's going to say this. So at least the vast majority will say that if you have a good DPS, you are making the first step, So if you look at the 3.0 characters that you have, and especially if you're starting right now, what you should be doing is, first of all, pull on those DPS. So right now, 28th of April 2025, Castris is up, and we still have, I think, 24 hours, 28 hours, I don't know, couple days or maybe one day before she expires. So and especially now, the banner that the Castory has is pretty cool, because it also has this guy right here. If you don't know him, he's a pretty good 4-star character. So basically you start by getting the DPS. So right now, of course, this video is about who should you get right now. You should go for the 3.0 DPS characters. Now we can talk about which one is friendlier, so which one maybe you should prioritize first. Based on what? Based on the element and based on teammates. For example, Aglaya is a good DPS. She falls into the remembrance meta, so she summons just like Castris. She summons her puppet, and the way she works, you have to get her ultimate, cycle her ultimate, so you need to have partners that replenish that energy, because she needs to have her ultimate up constantly, so and deal a lot of damage. So out of all of these 4 DPS units, I do believe that Aglaya is the less desirable one, for one aspect only. She needs right now, I do believe that she really needs Sunday. So Sunday is a good well, he's listed as an amplifier, which he is a buffer. He replenishes energy, action forwards the partner, the ally. He gives a lot of buff, 30% damage bonus, 20% increased crit rate, so pretty good. And well, the problem with the Aglaya that she needs a lot of energy recharge, so so that's something to take into consideration, especially when you have, let's say, Castris. Castris, on the other hand, works pretty well with Remembrance MC, Gallagher, and basically a healer, and then whoever else you have, maybe a free-to-play unit, or well, maybe in the future you might get some other amplifier. So she's just as Aglaya, she's a hyper carry, so you don't actually need another DPS. You need allies that work towards her getting back HP, sustaining and amplifying the damage of her dragon mainly. So she can work with Ruan Mei, for example. Let's say that you start it right now. Right now you get this gift, this amazing gift they're giving. They're getting Ruan Mei or Luocha. you got Remembrance MC for free. You just have to level him up and get his Eidolons and advancing up the story. And then you get Gallagher on the banner, so you are most likely going to get him. So you basically have one of the best casters team. So the newest news is that she's getting her best healer, which is also another Remembrance, summoning healer. So she's getting her best healer in the future. I maybe it's next banner actually. So, but as of now, Gallagher, with his advance, his healing is not as abundant, like Luocha or Linksha, but the fact that he takes so many actions, and you can actually have a lot of cones on him, that especially there's a 3-star cone that you can use on Gallagher that advances every time that you use a normal attack, so that's pretty rad. You can use him with that. You build him instead of building Break of Fat on him, maybe you should prioritize his heals, but Speedy Gallagher, he can actually work pretty well with Castores. So Mighty, another example, I think he's a pretty good, has a lot of he can work pretty well, not my cup of tea perhaps, but he's an imaginary DPS, so, and the newest one. So the last imaginary DPS that we got was Rappa. Rappa is on a different scale. She works with Break Effect, on the Break Effect meta. And if you don't know, the Break Effect meta requires kind of assistance. It requires, especially in this meta in 3.0, she needs some premium allies, like Fugue, Ruan Mei. It's not as to make Rappa work. I think it's not like she cannot work with Harmony MC, which is the 4-star option, the 3-star option to amplify the break meta. But I really think that if you don't have Fugue or somebody that can amplify your break damage by a lot, the break effect meta is suffering a lot these days, to be honest. If you don't have the premium one, if you keep on using Asta, Firefly, Harmony MC and Gallagher, you just cannot output the damage. You cannot bring the damage. So to me, at my experience at least, Rappa is a good solid one for now at least, but needs a lot of allies. So we're talking about who do you really should you really invest in a free-to-play environment, and the easiest one that you can get, the easiest one that you can work with. So Mighty is not as bad, I do think that Mighty can work a lot, sustainless, so you can buff him basically, and maybe he will be the last one standing because everybody's going to die, but I think he opens up a lot of options. But between Mighty and Aglaya, I guess I would go for Castores, and the last one, which is Ihurta. Ihurta is just as Castores. I do believe that she works especially well with 4 stars. She can work pretty well with 4 stars, and if you happen to have her, I really think that you cannot go wrong. So she does a lot of damage. She just needs another erudition character, basically. An amplifier, a sustain. If you are just starting, I wouldn't recommend you going sustainless, but as of sustain, healer, shielder, it can be basically anybody that's in here as a premium option. Or if you just don't have anybody, well, you're bound to get Gallagher. So I think that, but if you do not have Gallagher and you just require a 4-star option, I guess you just have to do what you can. So there's Lynx, Natasha, I wouldn't really recommend that, but we're going to talk about sustain later. So she just needs another erudition character. a buffer, and there she goes. She requires really, she's not really required anything. Well, I would say that she mainly is required another erudition character, and that's it. So they're not. She can get anything else amplified by better partners, like especially Tribi. She works really well with Tribi. She works really well with people that can attack frequently. The more your allies attack, the more she charges the energy bar, and she needs to dish off ultimates like there's no tomorrow. That's what she does. Tribi is an exceptional. I think it's, well, not that I think, it's best in slot for the Horta, especially for, you know, as it's written here, SP unfriendly. What does SP unfriendly means? It means that whenever it's the Horta's turn, it's time to skill. So, you know, when I do have the Horta, and many times I guess that you have to skill, but you know, sometimes, you know, maybe if you want to time your ultimate, you don't skill, you know, but it can happen, you know. So Tribi is a very SP friendly, because she just have to use the skill once every 3 turns. You might want to use her skill to charge up the ultimate a little bit more, but just as the Horta, every time allies attack and do things and do stuff, counters, follow-up attacks, ultimate, she gets her energy back, and she buffs, you know, if you don't know Tribi buffs the basically the whole damage that the party does at E0. So she's listed as a follow-up attack, you know, as a sub category, because she does a follow-up attack each time an ally uses an ultimate. So you would think that she would go pretty well with somebody like Fei Xiao, but Fei Xiao still needs Robin, to be honest. I have Tribi, I have Robin. I wouldn't put Tribi over Robin at all. I think that Robin in a Fei Xiao team is still the best in slot for her. So, but she's a good universal buffer. I think that she does a lot of damage, to be honest. She does damage. You should build her as a DPS for she's a sub DPS, to be honest. She does a lot for damage wise for the team. And she buffs, and that's it. And that's why she works pretty well with the Horta, you know, because she attacks frequently, follow-up attacks, and charging up her ultimate energy bar. So this is as far as the 3.0 characters that you should go for now. I think that there are 2 tiers here. Tier 1 to me is Castoris and the Horta. Who is the best one that you can go for right now that will expire tomorrow? Is Castoris. Definitely Castoris, because you have Gallagher on her banner, you have MC Trailblazer Remembrance, and then you get Ruan Mei. So just select Ruan Mei, get Gallagher. If you're so unlucky, get a healer, and you have a 5-star team. To be honest, a 5-star team, a premium team, almost premium team. The most premium team that casters can get is just remove Ruan Mei and put Tribi, Castoris, Tribi, Remembrance, MC, and Gallagher, or Luocha, or somebody that can heal frequently, you know. But you see that, you know, it's not like it's not like the Horta. The Horta, I would put her in 2nd place, but the Horta, well, who are the best erudition partners for the Horta? So I think that if you're starting right now, you might not get them at the start, but one of the best is Mini Horta, so the original OG Horta, the 1.0 or Herta and Serval. So these two characters are exceptionally good. One for damage, Herta for damage. She shares the same archetype, the same ice erudition, and she can charges up the bar, a little bit with the follow-up attack, but you have to time, basically, if you don't know how Herta works, every time the enemy gets to a 50% HP bar, she does a follow-up attack on that enemy. So you want to time each time you get the enemy under 50%, so that she can, so that you can min-max this character. So it's not that easy. Also, her ultimate goes off pretty consistently. But the best battery, if you want to use a battery, is Serval. Serval is crazy. If you have an E6 Serval, she's crazy for a little bit of damage, but the turns that she take are, really scary. She acts a lot of times, especially if you have the Eagle set, and there's this new cone that was released a couple months ago, the Erudition 5-star cone from Simulated Universe, that also increased the speed of Serval. So you will see Serval acting pretty frequently. So I do actually use Serval as my partner because I don't have Jade, and I would have to see if Jade can actually be better than Serval, because I do really like and enjoy the fast playstyle of Serval, charging up my ultimate, charging up everything I do with the Herta, and basically dishing up the damage. So just by existing, Serval gives the boost that the Herta needs. It's written in her talent that she needs another erudition character. I think that the crit damage is increased by 80%, something like that, some insanity like that. So and she really works so well with the Herta, and she's a 4-star character. So premium option, I do think that is Jade. I don't actually have her, so I don't really know, man. I would like to say something nice about Jade. Would I recommend or justify going for Jade? To be honest, no. If it's just for a support for the DPS, no. I would much rather spend my Jade on an amplifier, okay, or a sustain at this point. So first, based on what we have right now, I would say go for Castorus. You got a premium team right off the bat. So the Herta is next, then is Mighty, I think, and Aglaya is on the top, is on the bottom. But I would go for them. Okay, so next time a banner is up and you already have the DPS, who do you want to choose? You would have to choose between an amplifier or the sustain. I would go for the sustain as my last pick. Go sustain, last pick. Go for an amplifier. So basically an amplifier works, I would categorize as how universal my buffer is. For example, Robin, how universal is she? And I'm talking about new player. I'm not talking about sustainless crazy runs, E1 Robin that does that amplifies the damage by a lot. So no, I'm talking about basically what were they designed for at E0 for a normal guy. So Robin was designed for follow-up attacks. Why? Her ultimate is a high cost ultimate. Every time somebody does a follow-up attack, her ultimate energy bar goes up a little bit. So that should tell you pretty much how she works. She is like Bronya, but instead of advancing one character and wasting one skill point, using one skill point, she advances everybody and gives a substantial HP attack buff based on the attack that she has. So you want to build her with attack, Speed is not important because she enters this concerto stage, which basically removes her from the party. She's singing for a set number of turns. All the damage is amplified, and then that's it. So you don't want her to build with any speed, to be honest, unless you want to do something funny and acting before somebody, But I would go for Robin if you have a follow-up attack team, just as that. Why? Because otherwise there are better options. If you want to, for example, you want to pull Aglaya, Robin doesn't really work that well. You want an amplifier that gives energy to Aglaya. Robin advances everybody, the puppet, everybody, but the extra turn doesn't really, translate into good synergy. Just like something like Sunday. Sunday to me is one of the best harmony amplifier because he can work with many characters. He can work with Mighty, not as much with characters that don't require energy, like Acheron, Castoris. They don't really need the energy. They work based on another system. Castoris has the Dragon HP bar, so Acheron has the flower stack. But he was made for the summon because he advances the summoner, and very good buffs, So if you had to choose between the brothers, it depends. Do you have Fei Shao and you still want to, squeeze a little bit of follow-up attack? Okay, so get Robin. I wouldn't. Universally, Sunday works in many more cases than Robin. That's why I'm talking about, somebody that wants to start right now. What about the MC? Well, the MC is free. He is like Bronya. Whenever there's a percentage bar that he has, basically he summons Mimi, and there's this bar that appears when he reaches 100%. Mimi acts and action forward somebody that you want, and gives him this true damage buff, which is amazing. Harmony MC, perhaps one of the best characters that you can get. You should and you have to build this one. He is like Bronya, a better Bronya right now. It's just amazing. So as a free-to-play, as soon as you get the game going, build him, make him work with whoever you have. This guy can work with whoever the DPS is right now. He can work with anybody, even Acheron, man. He's in here. I guess he can work with Rappa too. He can work with anybody. So that's why DPS first. If you cannot get anything other than the DPS, just build this guy. At least make one good team, and then work towards the second one, because you need two teams in order to tackle the memory of chaos and all that. But the first one with this guy is going to be pretty good. And well, about these guys on the bottom, well, Zhao Chu, I don't really have much to say about him. He was the best in slot for Acheron. He makes Acheron act way faster because the debuffs are plentiful and stable, so she can get more stacks and dish out the ults. But other than that, people recommend him with Mighty, but I don't think he's as universal, as MC, as the Trailblazer Remembrance. So I wouldn't really go for him unless you have a certain team going on, especially an Acheron team, which is still good. The Acheron, the anniversary Acheron, she's still going. Ron May, on the other hand, is pretty universal, but mostly tailored for the break meta. Basically, what she does is when the ultimate is up, if you break an enemy, the enemy, instead of acting when he's supposed to, gets delayed one extra turn, so he's still broken. So you can actually, you know, if you have Firefly, for example, Firefly can act at least a turn more. Anybody that has break effect damage can take can take action and deal more damage, basically. So you have an extra turn. Anybody can do it, because if you don't know how the break meta is, basically instead of attack, crit damage and crit rate, you stack break effect. So whatever damage you do to an enemy whose weakness broken is based on the break effect. So example, Gallagher, good sustain, but if you put a lot of break damage, and if you attack a weakness broken enemy, he can deal a lot of damage, especially with what was called the super break. Super break is just a break damage and amplified break damage. So if you have super break on, that you can get with the Trailblazer, at least you got him first with the Trailblazer, you get a lot of damage, and he also can dish a respectful damage. But thing is, the break meta, I think, is, you know, it's not going to be a thing, to me, honest. You can say whatever you want. I do think that the break meta is gone, to be honest. With the HP inflation that we're getting, you should prioritize what we got now, based on the DPS that we got now. So the only one that can really work well, I think, in a normal scenario, because I'm saying with the sustainless runs and whatever you want and more meta thing, you can do whatever you want, but you can make everything work with everybody. You can use Sushang, you can use Arlen. There's guys doing many things, but we're talking about vanilla stuff, okay? So she was meant for the break meta, okay? But her buffs are pretty much universal, so you can actually use her with Castoris, for example, okay? Or the Herta, I guess. If you don't have anybody else, why not? Because she does give a damage buff. In the end of the day, that's what you do. But you mainly want to use her with Rappa, Firefly, or any converted super break damage DPS that you want. It can be March 7, it can be Fei Shao, build her as a break damage DPS. You can be Himeko. In the break meta, everybody was a DPS. Kafka, you know, just slot a lot of break damage. So team building in Honkai Star Rail is still pretty flexible, because you see a lot of guys, a lot of people doing great stuff, to be honest. But I'm talking about vanilla game, you know, not taking it to the max. Somebody that is surfacing here is Argenti, but mainly in this video, let's call it part 1, because I would like to talk about the other characters, but mainly based on the best, because this is T0 and 0.5. what we got right here is basically what I would go for. So if there is the new DPS, the 3.0, I'm not talking about maybe next run there's a Necron rerun, would I go for her? I wouldn't, because maybe we will get the Herta rerun. So who would I prioritize between the two? I would go for the Herta. She will stay relevant more, and you want to get to 3 stars, because that's why you're here. You're a meta slave and you want that good stuff, okay? So for now, let's call it part 1 of who I would pull in this meta. We will expand further in part 2. Thank you for watching.